And hello, my name is David Postansky and we live in a society. Yes, that's right. Welcome to the Mega Movie Podcast, where today we'll be giving a quick reaction to the Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer, which dropped yesterday on Valentine's Day 2021, February 14th. We got the Zack Snyder's Justice League official trailer for its debut on HBO Max, which will be coming March 18th. And it was really good. It was very exciting. I'm going to give you my reactions. I'm going to play it in the background and give you some initial thoughts of things as I see. Then I'll start it and go over it again. But obviously, that line I gave the reference to, "We live in a society," was because we got the first footage of Jared Leto's Joker, which was the big tease, the big reveal at the end of the trailer. And that obviously is going to be the biggest talking point. Just to say a couple of things about the success of the trailer, I've got it open here on YouTube, and it's on the HBO Max channel, which has got 526,000 subscribers, yet the trailer itself has got 9,710,828 views at the time of playing it. That's including 364,000 upvotes, 9,500 downvotes, so that's a minuscule amount. Obviously 9,000 downvotes sounds bad, but when you compare it to the 364,000 upvotes out of 9,700,000 views, that's not bad at all. So I will tell you what you see. The first thing you'll notice when you watch the trailer is the aspect ratio. The aspect ratio of it is a bit closer to what you'd have on an old square television. So it's not in widescreen, but that's because this is being presented in the format that you'd get if it was shot for like an IMAX movie screen, which has obviously got a lot more screen real estate. But anyway, let's go through the trailer. So it comes up with a logo. Then we see Superman having been killed at the end of Batman v Superman. You can see that he is still in the grip of Darkseid. You can see the big wound in his chest, and you see that he is screaming. It then cuts to show that there's like a shockwave of sound going across the entirety of, I guess, Gotham City, if that's where Batman v Superman was. We then cut to what I believe is going to be Wonder Woman's like homeland, where you see something collapsing, like a building of sorts. We see the nightmare future world where Batman is looking. There's lots of quick cuts now. We see Wonder Woman looking at some warning of Darkseid. Then we see Darkseid with some other characters, and Steppenwolf like bowing down to Darkseid, which is an interesting thing in itself. Steppenwolf looks absolutely brutal in this. We see a big explosion as Wonder Woman's trying to save people. We see shots of so many quick cuts here. I'll break this down in a second. But the things that jump out is we see Cyborg with like a big gun on his back. We see a hologram of Superman, which was with a clever line about if you're going to go against a raging bull or whatever, don't wave a red cape. Obviously Superman has the red cape. We see stuff with the Flash and his lady friend. I forget her name off the top of my head. We see Superman getting ready to fly in the black cape. We see Cyborg flying. We see Batman with his tank. Close-ups of Cyborg and Flash, and we see some Flash running really fast. We see the Justice League all coming out of what looks like perhaps the back of a plane or something. I don't know if that was in the original. We see Superman looking kind of sinister looking, with doing his heat vision whilst wearing his black suit. Brings us to a shot of Bruce Wayne saying, look, we need to bring back the Age of Heroes. Then we get to the "We live in a society" line, and we see, interestingly, we see Cyborg behind Batman in this nightmare future. And then we see Joker turn around, and Joker has got his back to Batman. He's not obviously thinking he's in an immediate conflict, which is interesting. What I'm going to do now, because that does wrap up the trailer there, is I'm going to break the whole thing down again, but this time I'm going to do it shot by shot. And so in the first shot we see, it's interesting because we can see that Superman is still within the grip of Doomsday. We see the big wound in Superman's chest, and obviously then we see the shockwave as he screams that he's been killed, that goes out across the whole of Gotham. we see... Oh, one second. So we see the Amazon. Sorry, I forgot that earlier. Amazon, where someone's looking over the edge of things, and we can see that something's collapsing. And I don't know why that's collapsing. I'm guessing that's Steppenwolf or Darkseid having done something. I'm going to guess it's going to be similar to in the theatrical cut where Steppenwolf has interfered. The logos come up. We see Batman wearing the big Mac, I guess, over his Batman suit with the goggles on, because we're in the post-apocalyptic world. Batman sees that there's big ships flying over whatever the cityscape is that he's in front of, which is very interesting. We see Wonder Woman. Now, I don't know where Wonder Woman is, but she's looking at something. Let's just bring that up so I can tell you what it says. I'll make out what I can of it. So, oh dear. I just need this to unpause. Pause. For some reason this isn't pausing. Okay, let's see if I can pause it now. And can I pause it? Yes, I can. Okay, so it's got some writing which obviously is all gibberish, but the image of it is clearly Darkseid, as we've seen his design look. And let's see what else we've got. Also in it we see that there's quite possibly the mother box represented in the middle. There's like a big circle, and that's probably the mother box that we're seeing represented there. We then see Darkseid, and people have pointed out that this is apparently Granny Goodness to one side of him, which I don't know that character, but it's cool that there's other characters being represented here. Let's just come across here to Twitter, because YouTube's playing me up a little bit. And let's see if I can bring it up on Twitter. Should be able to. Yeah, of course I can. And let's click watch again. So, after we see Wonder Woman, like I was saying, we see Darkseid, and he's walking through like a huge walkway surrounded by parademons. And this looks like this is going to... It's got a similar looking aesthetic, like colouring and everything, to the Nightmare Future. Maybe this is in the future with Darkseid, this is in the Nightmare world, but I believe, because we see Steppenwolf being sent, like bowing down to Darkseid, that we'll get to in a minute, that this is Steppenwolf being sent on his mission to go and kill all of the people on Earth and get the mother boxes. But Darkseid looks absolutely brutal, like the glowing yellowish orange eyes, like hench built like Brock Lesnar. I mean, for goodness sake, like what chance do people have? Like Thanos versus Darkseid, that would be the match of the century, so to speak. Okay, there we do see Steppenwolf kneeling down. Now, it's interesting, because Steppenwolf looks like he's stood in the same position he was a second ago, but I don't remember seeing that we could see Steppenwolf there. The design of Steppenwolf is so much better than what we had previously, because it just, like people have said loads of times all over the internet, looked like Liam Neeson. But we then see Steppenwolf coming down, and this is a battle obviously in Amazon, and apparently this is R-rated, and we literally see him wiping out people like at the Amazons on their horses. We see Wonder Woman trying to rescue the school children in the bank raid like we got in the movie, but we see that it explodes. So whether or not any of them survive, we'll find out, I guess. We see Aquaman going underwater, and I'm not sure who you just saw Aquaman fighting. Let's see if we can just rewind that, because it looked like there was an element of combat there. So this might be just Aquaman retrieving something from within the water, or it might be that he's fighting someone. What's quite interesting is we see Cyborg, and as we see Cyborg, he's got like shoulder-mounted weapons, and honestly, I'm going to play this through again until I see it. To me, it looked like he'd got like a robot arm behind him, but that might have just been, I don't know what it is. We then see Batman shooting parademons, and it's got parademons all around him. Same with Wonder Woman. These are all the quick cuts. Let's just see who we've got there. We see Aquaman with his trident trying to like do a stab at Steppenwolf, who dodges him. We then see the little hologram of Superman flying up, and we can see that Batman and Wonder Woman are looking on at it. We then see it's like a shot probably of Metropolis, and we can see that there's the Superman symbol on a bridge or something. Yeah, across a bridge. We see Lois Lane looking up. We see Darkseid and loads of like ships and things coming across over the city. See what else we can pick out here. We see Superman dead. Similar. Now, this is one of the things that's interesting, because in the theatrical cut, when they did the whole we're digging up Superman to bring his coffin and then put his body into the Kryptonian ship to try and resurrect him, just as General Zod resurrected Lex Luthor resurrected General Zod in Batman v Superman. I thought there was something about it that seemed a bit poor taste. If you're going to do one of these resurrection things, I hope this just seems better than them just carrying around dead Superman. But it does look similar. So it'll be interesting to see how this works. But we see that a photograph of Jonathan Kent, which was probably put with Clark's body, it's like falling into the water as well. So that's an interesting spot to see that. We see Cyborg looking just like normal Ray Fisher, and he seems to be in the middle of a desert. This is probably some sort of dream sequence, I should imagine, but it certainly could be a flashback to before his accident. You see Wonder Woman diving through the air to grab her sword, or maybe she's using her sword. Aquaman doing something with water. And then again we see the Flash, as I mentioned earlier. I can't remember the character's name, but obviously his love interest, saving her from a car which is flipping through the air. One thing I've heard online is that if you pay attention, you'll see that the Flash doesn't have any shoes or socks on, and that may be that he's run so fast it's burnt them off. Whether that's true or not, I guess we'll find out. We see Batman in like the snowy land with his goggles on, going to meet Aquaman, I guess. Batman taking on some parademons. It's going to be interesting just because Batman, when he's surrounded by Superman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman and the Flash, he's the only one with no powers. Now, I don't expect it to be in this cut, but it was a joke in the theatrical cut about the Flash asking Batman, so what are your powers? And Batman goes, I'm rich. Now, maybe that will be in this and maybe it won't, but it's still kind of true when you watch the theatrical cut, and hopefully this will be much, much better, but the theatrical cut really just highlights how useless Batman is to this situation. Now he's going and recruiting people, he goes and speaks to the Flash, he goes and speaks to Aquaman, but he doesn't really have that much success fighting baddies. Like when you see the opening scenes, he kind of has a little bit of an issue taking down one parademon, let alone doing anything against Steppenwolf. He has no face-off or confrontation with Steppenwolf, and obviously he couldn't, because if Steppenwolf could, kill Wonder Woman or Superman, then what can Batman do? He has no powers. It was only because of the kryptonite, which was criminally short in its effectiveness against Superman as a gas, that he was able to fight Superman, but Superman could have wiped him out in Batman v Superman. But anyway, coming back to this, so hopefully Batman will actually get some action and they'll find a way of justifying that he can have some degree of combat, or if it's that he outsmarts his opponents, whatever. Superman, shirtless, stood there with Lois Lane. That's obviously after he's come back to life, quite possibly the same as we saw before in the theatrical cut. We see Superman's fist, and he's wearing the black suit as he's about to launch off of what looks like some degree of rocks or dirt or something, and as he's getting ready to leap up into the air, some of the dust and stuff is gathering up like a little tornado around him, and then as he leaps up, it goes straight into a shot of Cyborg flying, and that's just like a clever edit. It's interesting looking at Cyborg, and I thought this with the theatrical cut, because obviously the design to the characters aren't altered other than Steppenwolf. But Cyborg, with all these weird angles, it's like I don't understand why he's so angular across every part of his body. It doesn't feel super necessary. And the same when you look at the Flash's costume, it seems overly complicated with different sections to the suit. But anyway, now I'm not sure that was shot of there, or just need to rewind because we saw Batman's tank. So we saw a shot again in Amazon, I guess. It looks like it might be Steppenwolf fighting Batman's tank. We then see Batman's tank, which is... Oops. I just need to make sure that's muted so I don't get into trouble. I accidentally played that in the background, so let's just mute the tab. Sorry about that, guys. So, we don't want things taken down because of the music. Hopefully that wasn't enough if you could hear it. So, where was I? Superman flies up, we see Amazon, we see Steppenwolf fighting a tank, and that might be how Batman is able to fight Steppenwolf in his tank. And it's a huge tank. We then see the Flash speaking with his dad, as we did in the movie. We then see a close-up going to Cyborg with the Flash behind him, and it seems to be zooming right into Cyborg's eye. So maybe that's as he's connecting with the mother boxes. We're then seeing perhaps a vision of the future, or perhaps where he sees a vision of himself like normal again with his family. We see Clark Kent hugging his mum and Lois at the same time. That's obviously after he came back. We then see Batman jumping down, loads of quick shots, the Flash running. Okay, now here's the interesting shot. We see all of the Justice League, and they've got like metal grating around them. Are they coming out, and all this steam, smoke or whatever, are they coming out of the back of a ship or back of a aeroplane or something? I don't know what this shot is actually quite meant to be. We then see some of the Amazons fighting, and we see Wonder Woman, and then we get there's like a couple of quick shots of different characters, Cyborg, and then we see the famous shot, Superman in his black suit, looking incredibly angry, and then using his heat vision. Now, it's just interesting with Superman with his black suit, and what we know about, obviously, what they put across in the theatrical cut about, is it going to be like Pet Sematary, where he's like evil Superman? And when you see what that was in the original theatrical cut, just how much I think that scene is going to change, because it was a very short fight. Imagine if people thought Batman versus Superman was short, where there was only like about 8 or 9 minutes of Batman fighting Superman. Imagine Superman fighting Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, and then Batman doing nothing. And it was just a few minutes outside the Superman monument, inside like a big open area, with a couple of cop cars there. It felt like, look, we need to reshoot this. It was their thinking at the time. How can we do this as quick as possible and put it into the film? And I just think when you look at the scale of the fights between Superman and General Zod, or Superman and Batman and Doomsday and all of this in the previous couple of films, Superman coming back and potentially being evil Superman fighting everyone, I think that's going to be a much bigger deal. But maybe Superman won't fight the others at all. And the reason I say that is when you think about it, Batman vs Superman, or I should say Batman v Superman, had already teased the idea of Superman being evil in the future. So when Superman gets killed at the end of Batman v Superman, and then they bring him back to life midway through the Joss Whedon Justice League film, then did they feel that, right, we've got to do something to show, well, Superman could be evil, so we'll show evil Superman for 5 minutes and then we'll turn him good and leave him good? Because otherwise, how does he go from evil Superman to getting his senses once he sees Lois Lane? It breaks the spell. He's then good guy Superman for unexplicable reasons that we don't quite understand. He goes to the farm with Lois, and then he's good guy. When does he go bad again? How do we get to that vision of the future? And I just don't think we did from Joss Whedon's version. Zack Snyder's version might have Superman come back and sort of be a bit more ambiguous if he's good or bad, just with the room for him to be to turn bad later. It'll be interesting to see. So obviously after that Superman shot, we get Ben Affleck's Batman speaking to, I believe, Wonder Woman, saying about like the age of heroes have got to come back. And then we get the "we live in a society" line, where honour is a distant memory, being said by the Joker. And it's interesting because it looks like Ray Fisher is wearing, well, sorry, I should say Cyborg is wearing something over his metal body, because he's still obviously Cyborg. We see the red glowing light. He's behind Batman. He's speaking with Batman. So are these the only people left? Is it just Cyborg and Batman left from the Justice League? And they're having to recruit whoever they can get. And Batman is now turning to an enemy in the Joker. Is that a sign? Is this just setting up the next film? Which is what I think this whole situation with Jared Leto's Joker is. They're just giving you just enough to make it so people desperately want this to continue. So it will be the future thing actually comes to pass. And then we'll have to use Flashpoint and time travel perhaps to fix it. I don't think this is just premonition territory anymore. I think this is going to be what happens in the film. That this is the actual storyline. Perhaps it will end in the future, that we'll have the Joker having to set up like a team with Cyborg, with Batman, and whoever else may still be alive in the future to fight Superman. And perhaps the Flashpoint movie will address that in some way, or perhaps it will just be that this is still a premonition. Either way, that is the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut. That was the trailer that released yesterday. On Twitter, it's had 7.1 million views as well. So the amount of interest in this film is just astronomical. Hopefully this will get people to rally behind this. Hopefully it will actually then be a good movie. I have said this many times before, I wasn't the biggest fan of Man of Steel. I loved it up to a certain point, but then it did kind of lose me. In repeat viewings of it later, I've actually just grown to really like it. But that's perhaps when I just understood what it was, and any disappointment of what it wasn't subsided. I was then very much into Batman v Superman, even though most other people weren't. And then I hated Justice League. And I hated it when I saw it at the cinema. And I said this previously on the podcast, just because it was like every choice they made in it was just like riddled with plot holes. And it's like, well, why? Why are they doing this? This is silly. And so hopefully this will correct the course. Hopefully this will put things right. And with that, we will continue to have more content, more updates on Justice League, more updates on what's happening to continue the DCEU, or the Snyderverse, or the Zack Snyder branch of the multiverse that we'll be exploring with Flashpoint and so on and so forth. So anyway, let me know what you are looking forward to if you're watching this on youtube.com/Extreme Improv and you've got the video version on. Smash the subscribe. If you're watching it on, should say you're listening to it on Spotify or Google or Apple Podcasts, hit the subscribe button. Let people know where they can find the shows. We've got tons of other shows and tons of great stuff coming up in the future. We've got the Games Monster podcast about video games, and Superkick Mania Pro Wrestling podcast, as well as all of the Extreme Improv Extremes live weekly streaming comedy shows. So loads of stuff coming up. If you haven't done so already, smash that subscribe button for now. And until next time, stay safe, have a good one, and always stay extremed.